Welcome to PJFM in Conversation. My name is Yae Straxkson, and I am the Development and Administrative Coordinator at Philadelphia Jewish Film and Media. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking to the creator of Woman's Balcony film and TV series, Shlomit Nehama. Thank you so much for joining us, Shlomit.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm very excited.
Yes, it's good to have you today. I know we got to talk a little bit while we waited for everything to start, but now we get into all the good stuff. So I'll start with this question because I'm sure lots of people have this and you probably hear it a lot too, but what inspired your story for Women's Balcony?
Oh, you mean in the movie?
Yes.
Starting with the movie.
Yeah, starting with the movie.
Okay. The movie is based on the community that I knew as a child at Jerusalem. I live here just for a few years, but my family is part of this community. And during the year, she's just make smaller and smaller until now they even close the synagogue of this specific community, and it connects to me to the feel that Israel become like there's no middle in Israel. You have to take it was symbol to what happened at the country for me, and I told the story, and during writing it, I understand what I want to say about this thing that you can't be just at the middle as a way, but not as something that you confirm.
Yeah. So picking a side and kind of standing firm on what you believe in. Yeah, I definitely feel a lot of community. I think that was one of the things, I know that was one of the things that I loved about both pieces, were that there was this connection, right? There's this tight-knit community that stuck together and stood by each other, and and you see it carry on into the series. And I thought that was just super great. It gives you, for me anyway, it gives you that fuzzy feeling, right? You kind of feel the chill kind of go up your skin, and your hair stand up, and you feel that because you know that there's love in the air there, there is true connection, even though challenges arise, they're able to overcome those things because they stick together and, they have each other's back. And you don't see a lot of that all the time anymore.
No, I think this is the thing that I miss the most. This way of living. You don't see it anymore. It's I'm living in Jerusalem now, but it's not even close to what it was. But some of it's the way of all of how the world develop, and I think this is one of the reason I wrote the movie because I was I'm not a religion person anymore, but some of the thing in the religion life is things that I really miss.
Yes.
And this was my way to connect these things again.
And I'm sure that it's the same for other people too, right? That they're watching it, and whether they, like you, got to experience this firsthand or maybe just long to be able to, this kind of helps you fill that void in a sense. I feel like I just really love the way the characters work together. Do you know what I mean? Like just in how they all mesh well. They're all different types of people, but the same at the same time. And it works well. And, they work over whatever they have. And that's just such a good thing. And like you said, there's not a lot of that out now. Things are just, we grow and we change and all of that. And so that changes what our traditions, what we hold close to us. It changes over time because things change, the world grows. But I think this definitely captured that moment. At least I felt it. And I think that helps go into our next question too, which is what interested PJFM in the women's balcony, how it was not only just a story of a group of women being empowered and taking control of their lives, but it also offered our audience a glimpse into Sephardic Jewish Israeli experiences. So how have the audiences responded to your film and TV series, both inside and outside of Israel? And are they the same, or is it different?
Actually, I was surprised at the way that the movie how the audience out of Israel get the movie and love the movie, because I felt it's so local, and
yeah,
no one out of Israel would understand or connected to the characters. Right. It's so, but it was a big surprise for me. And I think at the I can talk about the movie because the series is, I think, the first show out of Israel is in your festival.
Yes.
So yes, it's the first step. I don't know yet, but
yes.
About the movie, I can say this. I really love that out of Israel. People took it to a place, to some similar issues that in their life, because and that was amazing. I heard some reaction that was very exciting for me, because it's like I said, it's work. Even if someone don't know, I when I wrote the movie, I always think about the character will be familiar to the Israeli audience because they're from life. They're very authentic. I try to make them very authentic, like someone your neighbor. You know these people. So I didn't think it will work outside of Israel. But yes, this was a big surprise, and I hope the serial will do the same to people. I really hope.
I think that it will be taken well. I'm hoping that they are able to, what you just said, like grasp the idea of the characters from the series as well. To me, I feel like it allows the opportunity to explore more about the characters. So I think that it will do its, what I would call, justice. But I definitely, going back to what you were saying about just being surprised, which I think was really great, like being able to be surprised in how it was going to affect people, right? And realizing that you did do your job. I think from me watching it, I do feel the characters were very authentic. I do feel like they are your neighbors or people, maybe it's your aunt and maybe it's not the same exact thing, but yeah, we all have someone in our family who's going to have our back and try to do what's best for us. And, they're going to make those decisions on what they think to keep us safe and secure. And you have those people who are just always going to, they can keep your secrets and you can trust them, and they're not in it for the wrong things. And then you have those people who are in it for the wrong things, but there's always someone close to you watching from the outside who's able to see those things to help guide you or block you from certain things. So I feel like it really did that. And that's what I felt in the characters. And I think that's why I really loved what I called earlier community, is that the character development to me was very well and able to keep that cross culture, that these are people that you've seen them before, them, you're comfortable with them, you trust them, they have your back. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. So then that takes us to how both the film and the TV series had a very engaging and likable ensemble cast. And this is the part that excites me even more. But it's, what did you want your actors to understand about their characters as they were able to start bringing the story to life? You know, I know in the film, we're just visiting the series now, but was there anything that they needed to know, or, you know, that you wanted to pass on?
I was afraid. We talk about the close community, and I was afraid that the audience didn't want to understand how important is for them the community, and how, because you said, okay, it's just a synagogue, they can go to another, because we don't live like this. I was really afraid that it would see a big mess about nothing, or something like this. And yes, this was like the big challenge that I thought the cast have to make the audience feel how important is for these people and the community. But I think what happened was that the cast become during the shooting like a small community of himself, and it was so. It's like it's touch the behind the scene and the scene become very similar, and it was this. I knew that it will work because it was so authentic, and this is my luck with the cast. And also they're very naive, my characters. They're so they believe in good, they want to do good.
There's a nice innocence.
And it's not just, you know, a fairy tale. It's really, they're real people. I know these people. There is a people like this that just so. And this was something that I also afraid that people would say, that doesn't feel real. But the cast make them real people from the first shot, and everything went well, I love it. More than I expect.
So it really brought it to life. I know for me as an actor, one thing I try to remember, well, not try, but one thing I do remember too is that every story being told is someone's story, even though it's not yours. And I'm still sure, your cast had the same thing, where it's just understanding that if this piece came to you and was in your heart so much so that you want to bring it to life, it's also understood that this story, one, needs to be told, and two, is somebody's story. And it could be no one you've ever met, but someone somewhere is going to eventually come across this piece, and it's going to hit them in a way that maybe it did or didn't hit you, but it's going to hit them in a way that's for them and for that moment and for that time. And whether it's you've shown them something that they need to pay attention to, or if it's something that they just naturally needed to hear and be reminded of to keep going, even. That's what these stories do. And I feel like, I'm sure, I'm almost certain that's what your cast took in. And I'm glad that, like you said, from the first day, it was able to really start to come to life. And it's being authentic and genuine and real and original at the same time. And even with your characters, I know you talked about how some of them are naive in a sense. I agree with you, and still feel that if people really pay attention to the characters, they won't be upset that there's some of that naiveness if that's the proper word for it, in there, because there's also so much strength behind them, because they're good people who surround themselves with good people and expect good things to come. But sometimes people will infiltrate that good circle and drop a little bit of something in, but they're still ready to push that thing out. It's kind of like getting the disease out in a sense. We got to get it out. We got to get it out. We got to salvage and save what we have. And so I really enjoyed that. I did. And for me, okay, so I saw or I got or made up in my brain, I'm not sure, a lot of different imageries in both pieces, especially for the series. And I know that this one's new, but throughout the film and TV series, I couldn't help but wonder about how, if any of that imagery was being representative of something symbolic, of some greater truth or meaning that you were trying to convey. So can you talk about any specific visual symbols you use to convey the message that you wanted? For me, I know I saw, and I don't know if this isn't a spoiler now, but the trash, right? When the trash was in the street and it was out there, for me, and I mentioned this to Olivia too, we talked about it, and I said, I don't know if I'm going too deep into this. I said, but for me, it's kind of like that moment when trash has been placed in their life. So for her, the trash was some like a physical bags of trash. For someone else, it was maybe something being removed out of their life. For someone else, it was something being put in. So all this to me was like, it's trash being thrown everywhere, and there's physical trash, and everyone's having this is the theme. So I just wondered if these things were just coincidences, and everyone will interpret things different, or if there was any specific things where you're like, okay, this will help understand this. Someone will pick it up in the background.
Well, this is amazing. I have to be honest.
That's okay.
I want to take credit for this.
It's just me picking it apart.
In some way. But it so makes sense. Yes. I'm why didn't I think about it?
That's why I'm here. We're here to push these things out so people can look deeper. That's funny. No, but I loved it. I feel like that, when I'm watching film, I feel like I can catch certain things often. Maybe it's a color, right? There's a cold scene, so there's more blues, and you might see more blues in the background and all of that, like different hues. So I'm always like, I wonder if people are doing this on purpose or if I'm just looking so deep. But I do feel, even if you didn't, that some of those things were represented and they weren't necessarily meant to be, but it just so happened to connect that way at the same time. And I use the trash because I feel like that's a simple version of it, because you physically see this, and then, we've been presented with a problem, and now we have to, get the solution, figure out how to remove the problem. And that's how I think of like the trash and the removal of it.
I can tell you about something else, a visual that I put it at the serials. It's there's a lot of street signs that this is something that I really I like to tell the story through these street signs, because at the religion community, at the ultra religion community, it's this. These signs are their social media. You put you can shame people on the wall. You can put some message, some notes that you want people, and it's amazing how strong they are. And I felt like there's a way to say something about the social media that was always here in other version, because this is something that really was started years ago. So it's something that I deal with a lot during the series and the movie too. I had some Pashkevilim, it's called. It's an Yiddish word, and this was a symbol that I look for each episode. That I look where I can put some of this. It's look like a language to me. These signs.
Yeah, created challenge for them. I think in some ways direction, and in some ways hiding too, right? Because someone can go, someone can go in the middle of the night and hang a bunch of signs and it could say whatever, but no one knows who it came from because you can hide behind that. And I think it's the same with social media, depending on how you interact on there, it can be a way to bring things to the light or a way to hide in the darkness at the same time. And I feel like there's a good split between the two. And the signs you use are very bold and they're simple, but they're right there and they're in your face. And
you believe in, and if it's wrote on the wall, it's true. There's no other option. It's wrote on the wall.
That's it. And you see that challenge in one of the characters where she felt that way, you know, as simple as I can't go over here because of what's written there. And so I have to make, you know, it's just the setting of rules that challenge that direction. Like, it's the way we use our words, because you can also take something and twist it how you want it to be, putting it out and bold it like that, you know, something that could mean one other thing. Just a flip of one or two words can make it mean something totally different. And so now you're able to manipulate those things as well.
There's a lot about manipulated at the series. I want to show how easy it is to start fire between two communities that live at the same. It's and we are like that. It's we just heard half of the things and we
run with it.
And so this is at the main story. This is the story about a man who had the interest of starting fight between two community, and he didn't need to do a lot to do it.
He did it. And I called him, when I wrote it in my notes, I called him the snake. I would consider him like a snake in the grass type of deal. And he's like slithering around everyone, doing a little bit here, but he's mostly getting other people to do work for him while he can sit in the background and watch it all, what he hopes to be to crumble, you know? And so it's very interesting.
Yeah, but you have another side. Also have another side.
And that's always, you know, you may look at him as a villain fully, and you always know there's more to the story. And so I'm interested to see that what I would call unravel, to see how that opens up, because it's interesting to see the why. You know, you look at a character in that way and you're like, well, why do you choose to do that? You know, why that? And as you start to understand them, as you said, there's more to the character as you start to understand them, then you get, it's still not right, but you maybe get where it comes from, where it stems from, and its understanding of how it goes. So I think with that, what do you think something, or what is it that you want the audience to take with them from the film to the series, if they have a chance to see the film, if they've seen it already? Is there any messaging or something that they should keep in mind or understand going into the rest of the story?
Only the character. I took only the character with me. Yeah, I would love if the audience, if the reason they will see the series is because, you know, like an old friend, you want to know, oh, what happened with him? What is he doing now? I want to know.
Yes.
What happened next with him? It's what happened to me actually. I finished writing the movie, and I felt like I know so much more about the character than I can put in the movie. So and I live with him every day and night. And all of a sudden, it's I finish writing, and it's like they gone.
Right.
So I really want to get back hanging out with them and see what we do. And I start the stories of the series, because there's more than one. Each character have their own story. I started like only with the little story of life, what happened between the couples, between the friends, between the families. One of them is sick, one of them is having problem at the marriage, and this was what interested me about them. So it started by them, and the network want big drama.
Yes.
Yeah,
big drama.
And so the main story come after that. And if you ask me, from looking at this now, I think what work more at the serial is still the little life, or but I want to. I felt like I own the character to keep telling the story. I finished the movie, and it was like, that's it. Yeah, the character said, that's it. I have so much more. You don't want to tell about this and this and this about me and this. I have so much things happen in my life, and finish it with this. So they get another chance.
I love that. I definitely agree that there's always those little stories, and I love that a part of it for you was not wanting to not tell the stories, right? If I tell you a little bit of something, it's like, oh, I'll finish it later. You kind of got to finish it later, or it's like, but what about this and what about that? So I get the characters coming and saying, hey, let me tell the rest, because there's definitely more to be shown. And there's such a strong group of women, right? And I think that in every culture we can agree that we have that group, whether it's in your family or if you've seen it on TV, there's that group of these strong women, just ordinary, just doing what they do, but making things happen. And the people that surround them and their families, you get to love them. And I know for me, it was in the film, the little boy who would visit, I got to kind of love him. It's like, oh man, he's not around. And then when he was able to come again, it was like, oh, that's sweet. It's just such a small detail, like a very small thing, but it still was something it's like every day, right? When you come out and you see people walking their dogs, or, pushing a stroller or going for a run, it's like, these are normal things that happen. And when they stop, it's like, what's happening? So you were able to tell a really good story, I think. Do you have a favorite over the film versus the series? Is there one that you liked better than the other, or is there just specific things about each that really stood out to you?
You didn't expect me to say.
I know. No, I understand. Look, people ask me, what do you like better, film or theater? And I say, well, I like them both because they both are different experiences, as there's just something that the other can't give. So I get that, but I still want to.
It sounds like kind of diplomat answer, but I'm sorry, you can. actually, I don't like to use this metaphor, but it's actually like children, like your children. You can't choose between them. You can choose. It's really different. The process of both project was very different, but actually the series, it's like it's 8 episodes, and each episode it's little son by himself. And it's because you when you ever start and ending, it's one piece. You can't
so it all works together.
I work each episode at a time, and I get back and I fix things that don't work, but each episode is standalone. But writing the series was much harder than the film. It was just like all my life details. I wrote it, and now I'm just sitting on the computer and type it. But and the series was another challenge, and it's different even in the rules of television and movies. It's but it was very challenging experience.
But a good challenge, a rewarding challenge at the same time. Some people, when you're watching shows, an episode could be an hour. That's a film at this point, but there's many of them. So it's like I'm really writing a million times more stuff to just be able to tell more story in depth, because now, and to me, it's like film, you're kind of looking more at the bigger picture in a sense, right? There are some details that are just totally important for the overall story, and that's where the focus is. And then when you're falling into your web series or your episodes, your episodic type of things, now it's even more, because now you're going all the way like to those little things that you just passed someone in the cab. Now you're like following them in the cab and where they're going and how the day of work was, all of that. So
it's like different when someone open the camera for 10 minutes in your day, or there's a camera that take a picture all the time, all day long. This is
very different.
In a movie, you can say, "Oh, okay, this scene is not working. Okay, I don't need it. I don't need to explain this. It's okay, people." But at the series, everything is you have to be very, everything have to be in details, and you can leave spots that you don't deal with. But this one of the different. And actually, the big difference between them was that at the serial I had already the cast in my head, and it's a real different. You at the movie I built the characters from nothing. You it's like knowing someone more and more. And at the series, I have a face. I knew how the actor, and sometimes it's mixed. The story I knew about the actors and the movie, and I thought about some scene, and I said, he would like it. It's just like in his life. So it was different. It was very different in this because of this thing. It was
I love that. So in some ways, some of the actors' choices, as long as they went with the story, helped also grow the characters as well, based on how that character came to life. For our last question then, what do you feel your overall experience was, and did you learn anything new in the process? Was there anything that maybe the character or an actor or a crew member even, or just something that happened, maybe you adjusted on set, that kind of showed you something that maybe you didn't think of going into the overall project?
I learned a lot. It was, I think that the most important thing that I learned is to know what's important and what is less important. Because when I start writing, everything looked to me like, and even the breathing during the movie, you understand that you have to be easy on some scenes. You have to have some hierarchy of the scenes and the thing that happened. And this was a big relief because you are think everything has to be. And then I learned that a good actor, you don't have to explain a lot. The character don't have to explain a lot. Sometimes it's enough that is the look on his face of to tell something that I wrote 3 or 4 scenes that I make sure that the audience will understand that he is. So this is something that I learned at the movie, that sometimes you just is enough. That's less is more.
Yes.
Yeah, but I the movie is the first things that drama that I wrote. It was my first experience at movies at all, and I learned everything during the way, and it was and I came to the series and I thought I know now how to do it, and it's all telling a story. It doesn't matter where it's a story and all this blah blah. And I understand I don't know nothing, and this have his own rule, and here I have. But okay, now I'm doing theater. Now I'm writing for the theater, so I can learn this too and make the new mistake at the new media.
Yeah, and I think that's important. It's funny that you ended with that, because the importance is understanding that sometimes you're going to make mistakes, and not all mistakes are bad mistakes too. And there's some sort of learning within that mistake as well. And so for you, it was, and I do this too, but wanting, it's your baby, like you said, this is my baby, it's my first time, so I want to make sure that the message is not missed and that everything is here. And then as you started to get in that process, you realized, okay, maybe I don't need that, and I don't need that. It's not missed, it's still here, so it all worked out really well. And I think it's also being flexible too, because if you felt like, well, everything that I wrote, everything needs to stay, or, every decision I make and wasn't able to learn with the process, it may have turned out different as well. But you were flexible and willing to work with it and just learn and grow with the story itself and just the whole process.
I learned also that editing is another draft of writing.
Yes,
this is what it is. You have change that the story needs during the editing, and it's okay. You don't have to come with all the answers. Sometimes very beautiful things happen at the editing and the post of the movie, at the shooting. And
Thank you so much, Shlomit, for today. The conversation was absolutely lovely. Thank you for answering all of our questions just as effortlessly as you have, and my deep questions about that imagery. Thank you very much for that. And we're so happy to have you.
Thank you. I had a great time, great
Yes.
pleasure, and it was really, really pleasure to meet you and talk to you.
Yeah, same. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Bye.